Hi YouTube, this is the takedown bow project that I have. I'm going to try it in a different way. Rather than doing it all once I've put it together, that is making all the shapes and adjustments after I've assembled it, I'm going to try doing each of them separately and then assembling it. I think the results will be a little bit better. Yeah, that's my thumbnail attacking my other thumb. That's a file attacking my finger, right. So my hands are just covered with these little nicks. I gotta wear my work gloves, and I keep forgetting to, and that's what you get. But these are the Sias. All I did was I rounded them. They're wider here than they are here. I will cover them with glue, but believe me, once you insert them into here, it's not going to pull out, because here, you see how it fits. Here, it's going to have to become taller to accommodate it. That'll make it narrower. It'll just glom onto it and you won't be able to pull it out. I've tried. It just doesn't work. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Step one will be applying a good bit of hot glue. So right now, I've got the hot glue gun and I just load it up with a fresh stick. Like I say, you really aren't going to need any. But it makes me feel better. And at least if there's a little bit of give to it, it will keep it from creaking around. Okay. I'm not done, but that's the basic idea. Before I insert it, I'm going to blast it with the heat gun, and that will soften all of this up. So let me let that cool. I'm going to go get one more stick of hot glue, and then we can repeat that on the other side, on the other Sia. Can't quite grip it. There's no regular shape to the last stick that I fed in there, so it's just gripping it. There we go. This is what happens when you start to use the sticks of hot glue for things like, well, heating them up with the heat gun. When you do that, it makes it harder to actually use them in the actual hot glue gun. So you can probably see it's not coming out as smoothly as it was when I first started. There's a very good reason for that, because I unplugged it. So I'm going to turn the camera off, plug it back in, let it heat back up, and then we'll finish. Welcome back. I've now went ahead and properly coated both of these. Now all I'm going to do is heat up the ultimate 6 inches of each limb, one at a time, and then insert them. That's it. Before I do that, I will heat the glue to liquefy it again. So let's get practicing on that. Last time I did one of these, the ends split. So I'm going to take it a little slower, more cautiously. It's very hard to tell when it's soft because half of the pipe is still completely glassed. And when it's in a glassed state, it's hard, it's not going to bend. So you just won't be able to tell. So it's very easy to overheat a pipe like this. You gotta be really careful. I have a secret weapon though. One of the Sias that I'm working on out of wood gives me an idea. See, okay, so it slipped in easy in the first few inches, and then it got harder. So let's just continue for another few minutes. Another few seconds, more like. And make sure you keep the side opposite cool, because you do not want it to puff up. You want as much contact surface as possible, and that gets in the way of it. Okay, so now I'm liquefying the glue. Hit it again just every second or two. Make sure it doesn't harden up on you. Okay, that's all nice. Perfect. Let's go for it. Once you get that first bit in, it should slide right in. Whoops. Gonna brace it on the floor and push. A lot of the glue is coming off in the top. That's okay. Don't worry too much about that. But just get it in before it starts to set. You could always heat it again, but now since you'll have glue on the bottom, that makes it a little bit harder. Yeah, see, it's already starting to set. I think I prefer to do this without the glue. To tell you the truth, it doesn't need it. It really doesn't. It's superfluous. I have to push it in another 2 inches. And unfortunately, now I'm fighting the glue as well. Okay. Just bracing it between my feet and pushing. It is going in. This is not the easiest thing in the world. Oh, with the glue. Yeah, I'm afraid this bow is just going to be way too long, unacceptably long. It's not useful. So, let this be a lesson to all of us. Some people think it's not good to show failures or things that don't work out. This was a new experiment. It didn't work out. I don't recommend doing it unless you're going to taper them. It doesn't need it to begin with, and this just makes it too hard. So I'm going to try. I will succeed, but this is not a good way to do it. Learn from my mistakes, YouTube. Alright, let's try that again. I actually did manage to get it in at the expense of a slight kink here, which is just nothing. I'll just have to heat it and flex it back forward. Since I'm going to do that anyway at this region, it's not a problem. But that's what we have. It looks pretty good, to be totally honest with you. It is straight, almost perfectly so. I gotta keep drawing the heat gun back because my impulse is to put it right up against it. That's bad. Very bad, especially here. View it from the side, you can see it start to puff. That's just what you want to happen, because it's not going to puff much. That means you're almost ready. Okay, once you're satisfied with how it's puffing, again, we're going to heat the heck out of this. Hopefully this will go smoother than the first try. I'm ready for a battle. This is one I will win. Okay, that's all liquid. Let's just make sure this is still sufficiently heated. And remember, once you insert it, this is going to keep on, it's going to keep the glue rather hot. I'm just going to go and hit it with a little bit more heat. And then I'm going to force it in the rest of the way. Not perfect, but the technique still seems to essentially work. I like it much better without the glue. There we go. And warning, as you get close to the end, remember there's a whole lot of glue sitting right there waiting to burn you. It's still warm, although it's not burning hot. Alright. What do you think? Again, that same little kink there, just because of the heating. It's not perfect, but it worked. So, if it sticks, if you have that problem, just go ahead and hit it again with the heat. You can do it. You know, it's not a problem. You'll be able to get it done. Enjoy this video, and look forward, I hope you will, to some of the other ones when I'm going to be not only fixing this little kink, but putting the final bends in the limbs between the 4th and, in this case, the 7th inch from the handle. And then I'm going to fit them together. I'm excited about this bow because it's going to be my first successful all PVC Ottoman Turkish style bow. Thanks for watching. Right, back where we started now. We've got both limbs reflexed, not yet cleaned up from all the hot glue spillage that popped out when you forced it in. But now I'm going to heat them all between the 4th, the 4th and the 7th inch. And we're just going to bend it right over here. The nice part about having the bow knot put together is it'll be exactly the same for both of them. Just going to bend it here and force that down, basically over one single 1-inch pipe. So again, this is supposed to be replicable. If you start with your full taper here, full size, taper down to nothing here, cock it forward at exactly that angle, deflex it at exactly that point, at exactly that angle, you should receive a bow of approximately the same performance. You know, we're trying to make this a little bit more consistent here. It's difficult, but it's worth trying. In the name of science. I don't want this bend to be concentrated and sharp. I'm done with doing super sharp bends like that. I want this to be a nice flowing bend. So I may even go to about 8 inches, 4 to 8. But that's not going to be what really determines it. It's going to be how I roll it on here. I'll show you that. Okay, it's already starting to soften. Just a touch. And it's starting to puff. Looking at it from the side, you can tell. Okay. So we've achieved softness. The pipe is becoming flaccid. At this point, you go ahead and roll it like that. That's what I'm doing anyhow. I think that's a successful way to do it. Push down as much as you need to get it to hold the shape that you want. If you want it flatter, you need to push harder. If you want it less flat, don't push so hard. So I had to go off the edge to flatten it to the degree that I wanted. Unfortunately, that makes it a little bit less consistent. But approximately the right shape and size is going to be the 4th inch is at the edge of the table. And then I just roll it back and forth to try and flatten it up to that point and then hold it there. Because again, you don't want a sharp decrease in pipe diameter throughout this bend. You want it to be a nice, even taper. Otherwise, you're going to get hinging, and hinging is, let's see, good or bad? Bad. Good. Good answer. Okay, so just make sure it's still straight, and go ahead and make sure the taper is still how you want it. I like it. It's not perfect, but few things in this life are. That's as close as we're going to get, I think. That will bring the ultimate reflex to 0, which is what we're going for, because we want this thing to be highly stressed, and as far as these Turkish bows go, that's pretty stressed. So now, again, it barely tapers at all up until the arm. This is also probably going to be a fairly heavy bow, which is acceptable. I'm okay with that. That's really what I want. Doing one final check just to make sure it's straight. If it's not, just correct that bend right now. Just bend it against your knee. I think that's pretty good. Look at it from one side, look at it from the other. You'll notice. Okay, I'm satisfied. That's straight now. Run it under cold water. I think I've mentioned this before, but since I've done a whole bunch of videos and not everybody watches all of them, shame on you, you might have missed my thought on this. Whether or not it's true is another story, but somebody brought up the idea that forcing the PVC to cool with water could be bad. It could force it to enter a glassine state, that is, one that's amorphous but solid, and often glasses can be more brittle. If they crack, cracks tend to propagate. Think of what happens if you throw a baseball through a window, an untempered glass window. It just everywhere. So, does that happen? I do not believe it does, because normally PVC cools, or it forms a solid at a fairly high temperature relative to our working temperature. We work it at about, say, 210, 180 to 230 would be a normal working range. By the time you hit the high 150s, it's already starting to set. I don't believe once you've let it cool a little bit, putting it right under the water will have any effect, any consequence whatsoever. But I could be wrong. Nevertheless, I'm not concerned. I don't think you should be. I've never had a bow fail that I could identify to a cooling issue. I've had bows fail for inexplicable reasons, but never in the place that I've expected them to fail. PVC constantly surprises me. Okay. I think we've achieved softening of the limb. Let's do the same thing that we were doing before. Roll it. Yeah, that was inadequate when it was all up here. Laying it off to the 4th inch, and then walking back and forth throughout the heated area, which I heated again. I did do the 4th to the 8th inch, so if you're going to copy me exactly, that would be the way to do it. Just take a look at the other limb. Yeah, that's good. Trying to get the taper to be as close as possible, since ultimately we want it to be a matched pair of limbs, without hinges, without problems that are going to plague us later. So these problems are never fun to deal with later. This is the time to get them out of the system. Okay, so make sure it's still straight. I think that's good from this side, and it's good from this side. One thing I don't like, at the very end, it almost looks like it's angled back again, and that's more than I want. I don't want that. Okay, let's look at the limbs next to each other. Pretty darn good. They are not identical, but they're very close. This limb should be brought out just a shade, and then it really would be almost identical. Dang. Okay, again, just check for straightness before it sets completely. Good on the top, good on the bottom. Look at one side, look at the other. If you think it's off a little bit, brace it against your knee or another hard object. I think knees are very handy, so you could do that. And just bend it into shape. It looks really, really close. Maybe just a touch off. One final bend correction. Right, I'm going to run it under the cold water, and then it's really ready to go ahead and put them together. Start tillering it together. Cool, thanks. I hope you enjoyed this. This is a great technique. I love using it because it does produce these nice, gentle curves rather than using pots. You can do that. That's great too, but this just gives you a little bit more control, and if you're looking at eye level, you can really do a lot with it. It's nice. You can control it and tiller it just to your taste. Thanks for watching YouTube. Check in again another time. I'll have some
excited to present the Ottoman Turkish takedown bow.
I really thought this was going to be a battle getting it to come together, go apart, but I mean, it really almost just slides in there. There it is. Done. And it's perfectly straight. Oh man. Yeah. Beautiful. So it's about 49 inches knock to knock, or rather, call it 47 inches knock to knock, 49 inches overall length. It pulls about 45 pounds at 30 inches, and it does draw a true 30 inches. It's not a powerful bow. Due to its length and weight, it's going to be rather sluggish, but that breakdown feature is just killer, and I'm going to work on making shorter, maybe bows that won't draw quite as far, but that'll be more powerful and more impressive performance-wise. I could induce a little bit of reflex throughout the bow, a little extra reflex, and let's say you only want to draw to 28 inches. We could do that and then use either reflex at the handle or reflex somewhere else to make up for it, to add extra tension to it and improve the performance, but that's not really what this bow is about. It looks great. The brace height is about 7.5 inches, and I'm just dying to shoot it. This is going to be a gift for somebody,
So they don't know it yet, but I hope this is pleasing to them when they finally see it. I'm going to end up decorating the sias with a faux wood finish, and I just got some pleather. I may or may not apply some pleather to it. On the other hand, I may just spray paint the thing and do a design down it. Either way, it's going to look lovely.
Hi, YouTube.
Thanks for watching.
So this is the takedown bow that I made. It's actually a little longer than I had anticipated, since I really didn't plan the overall length too much. I had two 24-inch sections of PVC that I wanted to use, so that's what I was left with. Let's try and get a good view of it. There we go. The overall length is about 49 inches from the bow. And I'm using the same string that I use on my normal U3 curves. I haven't even taken it to full draw yet. I figured I'd do that on the Tillering tree that I made. We can go ahead and see exactly how heavy it is and at what lengths. Here's the scale. Let me go ahead and hook that up. Great. Okay, so can you guys see all that just fine? Yeah, that's good. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read out the values. Let's just tear it. We'll turn it on, helps. And ready. Alright, just for reference, the brace height's about 7 1/3 inches. Call it 7 1/2 just to be on the conservative side. That's fine. Let's go. "15 inches is 15.6 pounds. 20 inches is 22 pounds. 24 inches is 30 pounds. 28 inches is 40 pounds. 30 inches is 45 pounds. That's as far as I'd be comfortable drawing the bow. So there we go. I'm satisfied with that. It's longer than I anticipated, but that also allows me to have a slightly longer than normal draw length, which will be comfortable. This is maybe a bit more characteristic of a war bow. And for what it's worth, it's beautiful, can be taken down, and I know it will shoot beautifully. The just needs to be cleaned up now. I'll take off any hot glue remnants, and I can get out and actually practice with it. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks for watching the build process, and I hope you'll enjoy watching the shooting videos, which will come next.